Friends, Thor betrayed and destroyed the people of Asgard. The ending of the series' Secret Invasion is pleasantly shocking. It is a great teaser for the future plots of the film universe. In the series, Skrulls attack the President of the United States. Because of this, the Western leader declares all aliens living on Earth to be America's enemies. Not only Skrulls, but also Asgardians. It is worth considering that the world's elites have long been living in fear and tense to the limit. Mutants, superhumans, aliens, and omnipotent artifacts that cannot be controlled are very frightening to powerful people. They are afraid of losing their lives and losing control of the global world. Therefore, the US president was categorical. Death awaits the aliens. The first blood has already been shed. But is Asgard ready for war with humans? The question is rhetorical. Thor betrayed his people when he did not develop the military-industrial complex, the army and special services for 5 years, and then also escaped with the guards, leaving his people to be torn to pieces by earthly elites and criminal syndicates. While Thor was drinking beer and staying in Asgard, he at least acted as a living nuclear weapon, so the earthly elites and criminal syndicates did not dare to bully the aces. But when he escaped with the guards, and in the end once again with his new daughter, he left his people without nuclear weapons. He didn't even share the power of thunder with anyone, although he could. Can this be considered a betrayal? Sure. Vysotsky sang that a coward and a traitor are always despised. It's hard to argue, so I despise and disrespect the god of thunder in every possible way. Even the actor admitted that the fourth part spoiled the character. Chris Hemsworth promised to return to the role in the fifth part if he gets his hands on a really good script. The actor also teased fans that his character might die in the fifth film. And, given the upcoming war of the Asgadians with humans, Thor's death seems quite a likely event. Today we will analyze what to expect from the fifth part of the Torah. How can Thor save his people? How can people defeat him? And here is the seventh Infinity Stone and how Valgala can become an eternal and painful curse for the god of thunder. Thumbs up and enjoy watching. A coward and a traitor are always despised. Thor was born into a royal family. The people of Asgard provided him with the best food, clothing, training, weapons, and concubines. Thor lived like a young king. He bathed in luxury and permissiveness, and that's why he grew up a spoiled, selfish boy. He even took an oath to protect the Empire of Asgard, which consists of 9 worlds. However, when Thor was needed by his people, when it was time to pay for the luxurious life that the people provided for him, the king fled. He violated his oath, appropriated the power of thunder to himself, although he should have shared it with the people, because he has the opportunity to share it. When a general runs away in difficult times, it's always scary. The traitor ran away to solve some personal problems. Yes, there were many losses in Thor's life. He lost his mother, father, brother, best friends, and half of the Asgardians. But he gets to the paradise of the Aces, where he will see them again, where he will live with them forever. And in this case, how can you empathize with the character? He will see all the dead after death and will live with them forever in the Garden of Eden. Valgala devalues Thor's losses and further reveals the character as a traitor and a scoundrel. But the universe tries to give you a second chance. Personally, I would put Thor against the wall, but he still has the opportunity to return and save his people from aggressive and frightened earthly elites. First, let's outline the overall picture. The Aces, as aliens, are officially recognized as enemies of the United States, and, most likely, in the future they will be recognized as criminals in other countries. I hope you don't need to explain why. In general, the Asgardian will have to confront the whole world. Thunderbolts and other detachments of super soldiers, various PMCs and regular armies, the latest weapons, including hypersound, etc., will be used against them. Some aces will be killed, which will be captured for experiments and incubation. The rich men will want to capture and impregnate an Asgardian woman so that she gives birth to a Superman who lives for 5,000 years. The elites will want to upgrade both themselves and their offspring. The arms and biotechnology race between the countries will begin. We expect numerous wars and conflicts. The organs of the Asgardians will be scattered on the black market like hotcakes. In general, the picture is not rosy at all, and I have listed only what came to my mind in a few minutes. If you think further, you can throw such a mess that the invasion of Thanos and the experiments of the evolutionist will seem like childish pranks. I foresee your question and I will answer right away: yes, it is easy to defeat Thor. Firstly, there will be a sentry in the Thunderbolts. Insiders have been talking about his appearance for a long time, and very reputable sources have been spreading them. Secondly, it is possible to forcibly remove PIM particles, reduce tactical nuclear weapons, and aim them at the anus of the Taurus. The projectile will explode inside the God of Thunder, which will either tear him apart, or the frame will withstand, After all, his skin withstood the heat of the star, but the hero will still die because the organs will turn to dust. Friends, I can go on. My imagination is enough to come up with dozens of ways in which ordinary mortals can eliminate the great god of thunder. Perhaps Valkyria will try to form an alliance with Skrulls, Namor, or other super beings, but it is unlikely that this is possible. Therefore, the only way to save Asgard is to urgently return Thor to Earth. And then there are two possible ways. Either the evacuation of the Aces, Thor will have to look for a new home for them, or a military conflict with people. Most likely, it will be too late when Thor returns. Asgardian blood will be shed. A military conflict will begin, which means that the hero will have to act harshly. Although Thor has stopped calling and considering himself an Asgardian, so it is not a fact that he will speak on their side. It's better to be a good person than a bad ruler, says Thor. The catch is that you're not human. You're an Asgardian. These are two completely different species, and the fact that you call yourself a human being is already a crime and a manifestation of disrespect for your people and ancestors. But let's say Thor remembers that he is an Asgardian and will fight on the side of his people. What awaits us? Let's be clear that the Asgardians are a proud and fighting people. They are warriors with unwavering feelings of battle and spirit. They can be so passionate about fighting that they can fall into a warrior's special rage. When Bruce goes on a rampage, he turns into the Hulk. When Thor gets into a rage, he goes into berserk mode. In this state, everything else loses its meaning and the main goal is to win or kill the enemy. For young and inexperienced aces, such a regime is fun, but the elders of Asgard believe that such madness is the most disgusting thing in the spirit of Asgardians. A warrior's rage can be the result of the death of a loved one or a dear one. The first time Thor went crazy was because Warlock stole his girlfriend, Lady Sif. The madness of the warrior will rage until Thor reaches his goal, only then it will dissipate. Therefore, falling into the rage of a warrior is forbidden by Odin himself. Humans, as a common enemy, will unite the Aces, and the first Asgardian victims will force the people of Thor into a rage mode, so a war with humans can become a war of annihilation. I'll give you an example from a comic book when Thor fought with people and took over the Earth. In 2003, after Odin's death and the destruction of Asgard, Thor built a new Asgard on Earth. He left it hanging over New York, and he decided to take control of the whole world. As God and the Supreme Being, he has the right. Thor wanted to establish peace and order in Midgard. He destroyed many harmful factories, medical centers, and public places. Illegal acts, corruption, the manufacture of prohibited chemical weapons, waste that harmed the environment and other terrible things were carried out in those institutions. In general, Thor had enough reasons to do what he planned, and, of course, governments all over the world came out against Odinson. He, in turn, intelligently answered all capricious questions. Also, Thor decided to remove injustice among the townspeople and overcome poverty, even ordered the planting of magical seeds from Asgard to improve the quality of the planet's atmosphere. Thor did only good and longed for complete peace, but still people began to bicker and argue with him further. The king of Asgard even quarreled with the Avengers and left the team. The earthly elites decided to lure Thor to a lifeless island and detonate an atomic bomb, hoping that God would die. At this time, the government attacked Asgard, sending a regular army there. As a result, thousands of peaceful Asgardian residents died. People did not even spare the residents of New York and decided to sacrifice the whole city to destroy Asgard. But Odinson, who returned, killed all the opponents, destroying their headquarters along with them. Upon Thor's return, Asgard was completely destroyed, and Jake Olsen, raising Mjolnir, went against Thor, saying that he was to blame for everything. As a result, Thor killed him, and he himself became unworthy to lift Mjolnir and was left alone with the power of Odin. Next, we are shown the future, 2020, when Thor turned the whole world into a kind of Asgard. Peace and tranquility reigned everywhere. However, even then there were people who were dissatisfied with this. This time, these people were the Avengers themselves, the surviving heroes. But their attempt to stop Thor was unsuccessful. He killed them all. Then we are shown an even more distant future. The year is 2170. Thor had a son named Magni, and unlike his father, he was worthy of Thor's hammer. As soon as Magni raised the hammer, an ancient evil, Desek, awoke. He came to Asgard, crushing all the armies in his path. During the battle, a Valkyria appeared, who once saved Isaku's life, took his powers and possessed the destroyer. In battle with him, Thor raised the hammer again and was able to crush Odin's most powerful toy. Magni was dying and Thor realized that he had made a big mistake. He went back to 2003 at the time of the fight with his younger version with Olsen. The old man was able to prevent the tragedy. He transferred all his memory to the young Thor and connected Jake with him. From that moment on, Odinson began to look at the world more maturely. He moved Asgard to another place away from Earth. A very interesting plot from the comics, which fits perfectly into the fifth part of Thor. Just take it and film it. If Thor needs a new weapon to win the war, then you can give him the seventh infinity. In the comics, this stone is a living child, and to get it you need to cock a baby. It has not yet been revealed what this stone is capable of, but there are already hints that the artifact is endowed with the power of death itself. Such a weapon will definitely help Thor defeat the Earthlings. Let's figure out another option, not so rosy. Let's say Thor couldn't save Earth's Asgard. All his people were destroyed. What then? And then eternal torment awaits him. There was a case in the comic when the House of the Aces was destroyed. Thor was the only survivor, and as the last representative of his kind and pantheon, he now always carried Valgala with him. He was always surrounded by ghosts. Countless dead Asgardians have been chasing him for thousands of years. Among them were his family, his children, and friends whom he could not save. Thor was cursed to look forever at the faces of those he had lost. This is a terrible reminder and a very scary thing, scarier than death and even oblivion. I hope that Thor will avoid such a terrible fate in the film, even if he dies in a battle with people. A coward and a traitor are always despised, but at least he will die with dignity, like his brother. He will get to Valhalla, where he will have an eternal feast with his family and friends. A decent ending for an unworthy character. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Thanks for watching. See you soon, friends.